they're talking about the vaccine. They got the miracle cure, 95%,
Panacea.
95% efficacy. Yeah,
Okay, but then again, there's a few things that we need to be clear about with that. So basically, when I've spoken to a public health expert whose field is vaccines, they've said that what they believe, having reading the actual information that they've had on the studies, that all it is, it will just reduce symptoms a little bit.
Yes.
And actually, it should only be used on the very elderly and very vulnerable, obviously choice-based, but it would be a disaster to actually go and vaccinate more than that.
So what do we think's going to happen? Put your tinfoil on if you want, it's fine.
I think, genuinely, as much as I'm obviously very loudly saying that it would be the worst thing in the world for mandates to happen, which it would be, because, again, you don't own your body then, I think that the government are starting to realise that the more you force the population, the more pushback you get. And there's a lot of studies that say that. So we've lived in a democracy, and whilst in places like Australia where they mandate quite a lot of injections, and if you can't go to school with certain things or you can't get certain benefits, Japan, they've done the opposite. So Japan, they're almost like the MMR is banned, and then they encourage parents who want to pay for it to go and do it, but they're pretty light on that kind of issue. And I don't know whether you know about Japan, but Japan's done brilliantly as far as
of course they have,
their deaths have gone, because they obviously don't have a lot of people who are really
ever
overweight.
since Japan got rid of austerity,
well,
they've been flying with everything.
So you've got that kind of evidence there. I think that even though there will be some people who are like, this is the best thing ever, let's just do it, a lot of medics are going to be very resistant.
Well, that's the thing. Everyone's basing everything on what they've been told so far, and you're an anti-vaxxer if you don't believe it.
I mean, I think you're a pro-choicer if you want to know the information.
But that's
make
what it should be.
Decision.
Everything should be pro-choice. But then they say you're killing Granny. But with this,
you might kill Granny with that.
It's possible because we're dealing with a vaccine that's been rushed. They can tell me all they want about fast tracking. It's very quick,
and it's some of them. I know some of them have skipped animal trials. And the last time they did that, the last time they did it quickly and did animal trials, everything looked great, and then it mutated and people got seriously ill. And also what you have to do, and this is what I was talking to that public health expert again last night, bear in mind, this guy is massively pro-vaccine. Yeah. Absolutely. But he's really unhappy
See,
with
he's
this.
the first person you should listen to.
He said that, and I will try to quote him correctly, he said that it would be a fundamental disaster if we were to take this vaccine and do as is being suggested, such as inject all children in Africa, because 1 in 20,000 children are injured by vaccines, meaning that the issue of injury and illness would be far more significant than if they had caught COVID. Therefore, it counteracts the requirement, and also it's actually ethically inappropriate to go ahead and do that. And that he related to the whole world. But he did say very clearly that if this is safe, as in we have enough evidence to say it's safe, that he would advise the very vulnerable and very old to take it on the idea that they would reduce some symptoms, which could make it less severe, which seems very sensible.
And this is kind of terrifying because the government have now bought enough to, I think, is it fully fully inject half the population with 2 doses. So it's clearly their target isn't just the vulnerable.
I think they will have people queuing up for this vaccine.
It's terrifying, isn't it?
I think they will. But you know what? Listen, people eat shit. People smoke. People drink. People do what they want with their bodies. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that's fine. It's their choice,
that
though.
would be okay. Yeah, but I think there'll be lots of people
But
choosing
Matt
this.
Hancock has come out and said, well, I can't rule out mandatory
he's done a classic
vaccination.
thing. You know how he's done. He's done what he always does. He's gone, I don't know.
Yeah, I can't rule it out.
I can't really. But really
I don't know what
really
mandatory
what it
means.
is, I don't know what they're going to do. Listen, if they were to mandate a vaccine either in an overt way, such as you're going to have it, or in a backdoor way, you're not going to be able to work, no jab, no job, which is one of the things I've seen.
The paper that went into the Commons, we read on the show.
Well, that was actually, that was just an ethical thing to look at. They were just looking
that was
at
terrifying in and of itself.
Yeah, but
it's not a human rights violation.
Wasn't even explored.
No, of course, but it's that thing that this is what bothers me. Like the hate crime things in Scotland and here. What bothers me is that it even gets to that stage.
Yeah.
If that never gets through, The fact that
Bill
it made
Gates
it to
danced out on the
Parliament.
board of eugenics. Listen, these things exist. People go to Davos. Bono goes.
Oh, Davos is
billionaire,
it's a hive
telling
of-
people about how bad poverty is. All right, Bono, why don't you give us a bit of your money? You know what I mean? It's all a pile of
But the fact that
bollocks.
it's the fact that it gets to be discussed.
Oh God!
It wouldn't
this is what I'm telling you.
any reasonable government,
No,
if you had a
it's
reasonable one,
drama.
but if you had
They
a
love
reasonable
it.
one, how cool would they look if they went, "Are you fucking mental?"
Well, I think Sweden did really.
Yeah, well, it's like Iceland dealt with the banking collapse in
I
the perfect
think a
way.
lot of
I'd like to see
countries
more
that
of
we're
that.
not talking about have done a really good job. And I don't like the idea that New Zealand's held up as this great big example, because I think that the minute that it gets out, there will be a problem. And I think
Yeah.
maybe treatments will have improved. We know that they have in the UK, so maybe she'll get a better result because of
And
that.
there
and
are
I hope
only
she
18
does.
people there.
Well, there's 17.
17
You're
now. Did
fine.
one pass away?
That's
I am
right.
sorry.
So, but just of old age and natural causes.
But I am terrified of this totalitarian sort of world we're entering into.
Again, when my brain does that and I see it, and I can see how that would play out if there weren't the obstacles in the way.
Oh no,